Hello, I'm at Ormore today with Ann Marie di Mambro, who is the author of our first play of the season. Ann Marie's had a long and distinguished career in television, writing for EastEnders, Casualty, River City. She's also teaching screenwriting at Glasgow Caledonian University, but she was first and foremost a playwright for the theatre, and this is her coming back to it. Nice to have you here, Ann Marie. Of course, you've written for us before,
yes,
A1 Kiss.
And WestEnders.
And WestEnders in the Bar. Tell us a wee bit about the new play.
Only the Lonely.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cast of 4. Features again Libby MacArthur, who was in A1 Kiss,
yes.
and I think it's fantastic. The idea for the play came from, believe it or not, a film with George Clooney and Michelle Pfeiffer called One Fine Day. And it's about 2 single parents, and he's got a little girl and she's got a little boy, and they're under 5, these kids are under 5, and they spend the day running after these kids, and that's what brings them together. Okay, so my idea was to do a kind of version of that for older people.
Right.
So basically there's a couple, a middle-aged couple, who don't know each other,
Yes.
but they're kind of brought together by the fact that each one has got an elderly parent that they're kind of involved with.
Yes.
It's nothing like One Fine Day, but that was my starting point for it. Yes.
Inspiration for it.
I'm also interested kind of in that age group. And I think there's something in the ether just now. There's quite a lot of things like Last Tango in Halifax and Quartet and Marigold Hotel, whatever it was.
Right.
I think there's an interest in that age group, which I think is great, because a little while ago, we're writing for telly anyway, you were always being asked to get young audiences, write for young people.
Yes.
So I think it's really important to write for older people, and indeed old people. So that's been the fun of it for me.
Yes.
So.
And 2 different generations.
Absolutely, 2 different generations. The young ones in it are in their 50s.
Yes.
So.
Well, they're very young.
Yeah, very young. They're children, really. So that's it. So.
Obviously, there are very great differences writing for television nowadays and writing for theatre. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, writing for theatre is, in many ways, much more fun because it's freer. You're not got the constraints, or you're not following any particular formula. You've still got restrictions, of course, in the size of casts and what you can do on the stage. The actual writing is in many ways the same. You're tapping into the same sort of creative thing, you're coming up with a story, you're coming up with characters, but writing for television is much more arduous from the point of view. You get much more input from layers of editing teams, and you can end up with something which is very, very different from what you started out with. So the theatre is fantastic from that point of view.
Is it true, I mean, in our lifetime, I think, I'm a bit older than you, but anyway, there's been the flight from the single play.
Yes. It's a shame, isn't it?
Why do you think that is?
I think it's partly to do with money. It's once you've got something up and running, it's probably cheaper to do 6 episodes of something than it is to do 6 single plays. You have to set up a new world and everything each time. So I think that's maybe one reason, but I think it's a terrible miss. There's a couple of things which, a couple of shows, like anthology shows like The Street, like what's not longer on and Clocking Off, which were structured like single plays.
Yes.
Well, really would give a writer the opportunity to practically create a single play. Those are fantastic shows. Again, more freedom for the writer to be inventive.
It's something I've noticed over the last 9 years working here. A tremendous number of writers who work in television or have worked in television come here looking for that
opportunity, that chance to
do the single play.
Absolutely. I think it's the nearest thing.
To hear the writer's voice rather than a collective voice. So.
Well, to be able to write without somebody telling you what to write with, and to be free to explore something in your own writing, rather, but with telly you do, understandably, you really, before you start writing your play for television or your episode, you really have to know exactly what you're going to write.
Mhm.
So in a way you're more free to explore and let something develop when you do it in theatre, I think.
Yes.
So it's different. It's in many ways more challenging. Another great thing about writing for theatre is you can get a production fairly cheaply. You can produce something yourself, which is very, very hard to do well in television and get a platform for it. So that's it's much more accessible theatre, I think.
Excuse me. The new play, Only the Lonely,
Yes.
is on the surface a comedy, but not very far below the surface. It's also quite touching and poignant.
Yeah, I hope so. I would hope so. It was. I'm not very good at titles. It's not my strong point, coming up with titles, and I very often put a working title on something and then it sticks. But when I thought about Only the Lonely, it dawned on me after I'd finished it, really, that everybody in it was lonely. In one way or another, they were lonely. Some with, some are okay with it, like the dad, like Tony, and some are quite desperate not to be lonely, like his daughter Diane.
Yes.
But they're all kind of driven in a way by loneliness, and you've got Jim, who doesn't know that he's lonely. His mum knows he's lonely, but he doesn't, and the mum's kind of desperate too. So then they're all lonely.
Yes.
They're all lonely, but they've all got somebody to love in each other. They're different partners, they've all got somebody to love, but they don't quite accept each other.
No.
Right, they're not quite accepting of each other, so I hope. There's not an obvious lead in the play. That dawned on me after it was finished.
Yes.
There's not an obvious lead. It's
the great thing is there are four equally strong characters.
Well,
strong in the sense of strongly drawn.
They've all got their own little story.
Yes.
All got their own little lonely lives going on, and so.
Well, I hope you'll come and see the opening play of the season. I went to the read-through yesterday, and it's extremely funny and very touching, and we've got a terrific cast.
Yes.
And it's lovely to have Ann Marie back.
No, I think it's great to be working at One More again, so I'm really looking forward to it as well.
Great.
So come and see it.
Thank you.